Today is National Help a Horse Day, and Maine is a state that loves horses, of course. One of our most popular stories from the last few years was about a group of 20 horses that had to be rehomed in 2021.
They're called the Maine 3. They are wild Mustangs, and they had to travel quite a distance to get to their new home. The group has been given a chance to start over and taken advantage of it. Samantha York checked in with them last year.
Hi, pretty girl. Hi, sweet girl.
There's something special about wild horses. But these three in particular, named Annie, Sienna, and Silver, will take your breath away with their beauty and their story. The Mustangs, better known as the Maine 3, have spent the last 12 months here at Skydog Ranch in Bend, Oregon. Claire Staples, the ranch's owner, still remembers getting the phone call telling her the wild horses needed a new home.
We wanted to give them back, their happy ending to what was a very sad story.
That story begins back in the summer of 2021, when these three horses, along with 17 others, were rescued and brought to the Maine State Society for the Protection of Animals in Windham. The herd, called the Neglected 20, had experienced months of abuse and mistreatment on a farm in Springvale. This was their shot at a new life, a good life. Most of the herd was adopted. A few were in such bad shape they had to be euthanized. But the last of the bunch, the three wild Mustangs, would need to be relocated.
Part of the reason that they were brought to you is because they're wild and they need to be in the wild to thrive.
Yeah, and I think that the rescue did an amazing job with trying as hard as they could and doing their very best with trying to gentle them and trying to transition them into a domestic situation.
These three Mustangs, we have spent a lot of time with them, evaluating them, getting to know them, trying to understand their needs, because they're really fundamentally different from domestic horses. They're really wild animals because they were captured as adult wild animals.
In the summer of 2022, after much preparation, the horses were loaded into a trailer and made the 3,000-mile journey west to their new home.
There they go. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Here come some horses to say hi. And this is usually what happens. They'll all run together now.
1 year later, the Maine 3 are thriving.
They are all doing so well, and it's just a joy really to see them out on a ton of space and land that very much mirrors the kind of terrain they lived on in the wild.
So here are the beautiful Mustangs.
Claire says it didn't take long for them to join the rest of the herd.
At the moment, Silver, Sienna, and Raggedy Ann are just living the dream. They actually kind of connected with three other wild horses when they first were turned out, and they made a little gang of 6. There were 2 kill pen Mustangs and another owner relinquishment. So they joined Saint and Miss Hedy Lamar and Lark, and they made their own little herd, which is beautiful. They kind of stay together within a big band.
Here, on 9,000 acres of land, the wild Mustangs are at ease, at peace, and free to be themselves for the rest of their days.
Watching these animals in particular, go from so broken and so traumatized and see the light come back in their eyes and watch them go back to being, the horses they were born to be and being able to release them out onto a lot of land. I mean, it heals my soul every day.
Samantha York reporting. There's an update on the Maine 3. Silver was brought in over the winter because he was losing weight, but he's much better and will be reunited with Sienna and Raggedy Ann soon. You were saying during the story, it's crazy to think about wild horses as if they were another animal like a moose or a deer.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think about, and obviously we don't have wild horses here, so, it's not something that we get to see every day.
Glad they get to be in a place where they really can thrive.